gonna go ahead and start. You see the agenda in front of you? Does anybody want to add or take anything away?
I'd like to add an item at the end, executive session on personnel, please.
Okay. Okay, we don't have, this is not a voting meeting, so we don't have to vote on that. We just add it to the agenda. Anything else? Item number 1 is public hearing. Rezoning request, Haralson County Tax Map 0103-0009A, located at 2480 Cashtown Road. The present zoning is A1 agriculture. Proposed zoning is to rezone 17.63 acres to CGB, commercial general business, requested by Parish Pelt. Mr. Pelt, you want to come up?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name's Parish Pelt. I'm the owner of Cashtown Metals LLC that owns the property located at 2480 Cashtown Road. After last month's planning and zoning hearing, I have had a slight change of heart or change of plan that I would like to present tonight. I've got a map. If you want to take a look at it. After hearing the speakers from last month's hearing, the main topic of complaint that I heard was the amount of land that I'm trying to rezone. I would like to present the idea of changing the amount to be zoned to right around 5 acres. The new plat will encompass land that goes from the south property line to the north property line, and from Cashtown Road to right behind the barn shown on the map. And I realize that's a crude version of a map. I will have a surveyor draw up a legitimate plat map in the future. This plan should satisfy the majority of complaints that I heard at the last meeting. It will also allow me to do what I need to do for continuing business at this time. I still have zero intention of developing an industrial park on the property. I still want to be able to advertise for my business, and I still want to build a new entrance and exit to and from the property. The building that you see, the new building that you see proposed on that map, which is in between the existing building and Cashtown Road, I'm still wanting to build it. I still believe it'll be 50 by 50, possibly 60 by 60. It really depends on the machine that I'm buying. I have not determined the actual layout of where everything's going to go in the building. That will ultimately determine the size building that I need. Again, this business has been running in full operation for well over 10 years, and I believe it has not done anything but benefit the citizens and businesses, farms, so have you in Haralson County and surrounding counties. I'd like to reiterate the fact that there were 0 written complaints prior to this zoning request being presented. At this time, I would like to ask the Board of Commissioners to vote in favor of my zoning request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all, any questions on the map?
Thank you.
Well, you have to resubmit to drop it from 17 to 5? Or will his same proposal work?
I don't know that, that he would have to resubmit as long as it's identified on a plat and survey that he's already got done. That
Okay.
can be substituted and approved by the board or denied by the board, but it can be considered by the board with the current application.
Have you done an updated survey for the 5 acres?
I'm sorry.
Have you done an updated survey just for that 5
It's
acres?
being processed.
Okay.
You have it by the 7th day of May.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I really hoped to have had it today, but it just didn't happen. I should
That
have
gives
been
us a
you
good
guys.
idea to be able to kind of see where it would lay, but having it official, I think, would meet the requirements, correct?
That's correct, yes, as long as the official is completed, yeah.
The sooner you could get it to this office, we could distribute it to the commissioners,
Okay,
would be good.
okay.
Okay. Any
Understood.
more questions of Mr. Pelt?
Thank you for bringing that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Perry.
Thank you.
Does anybody want to speak at this time against this?
I do have 4 people listed. Chad Robinson is the first one.
Okay.
Real quick, Parrish, how many folks you got work for you down there? 5?
And what is your hours of operation, if you don't mind me asking?
7:30 to 4:30, and Friday we leave at 4.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Robinson.
Board of Commissioners, thank you for your time. In light of the reduction, I strongly oppose the rezoning request because it's loaded with serious near and long-range problematic implications. It's a rezoning. It's forever. 17, 25, 10, 5, or whatever, okay? Why not as is with conditional use permit? Why not? How many of you are familiar with where my house is in relation to proximity to the applicant? I sent a video in. How many of you guys looked at the video by any chance? Okay. Our concern is the noise and the commercial traffic that brings with a commercial business, okay? 17 and a half acres was a significant footprint. So there's a clearing, a piece of land, there's a roadbed and a clearing just off our property, off my back porch, where the videos were took. And I wasn't out there trying to, it just shows just daily use, how much noise and how it travels, almost like water. It's amplified, very disruptive. That's an immediate concern that we have, is the amount of disruption that we're gonna have to deal with should a commercial business be zoned there. Not to mention the long term, and I get it, businesses succeed, businesses fail, people sell, things happen. That's a permanent fixture on our property, next to our property, that's gonna be there forever. And whatever falls under that commercial, general business purview it's open, fair game, right? Anybody can put a business out there as long as it's within those 5 acres. If he chooses to sell and if something happens, so that's a big concern for us. And the noise amplification is huge for us as well. I guess the best thing is we're not here to create enemies or not be a bad neighbor. I feel like this is wrong on many fronts. You got a non-compliant, illegal business that operated, that has been sold, and now is being rewarded for now 5 acres. I just think that's the wrong. It doesn't fit. It's not a part of the comprehensive plan, certainly not a part of anything that's out there currently on our property line, okay? So I just strongly oppose it for those reasons. I hope you guys can understand that, respect that. It's a long-term, lifelong birthmark that's gonna be there, commercial, that opens up a lot of negativity, a lot of stress. And you talk about the noise and all the traffic, that's a big concern. And if it is rezoned, 5 acres, we need stipulations. We gotta have stipulations in it. I submitted some to you guys as an example. So as is, conditional use, reduce, we gotta have some stipulations. I would think that you guys and anybody in here would want that assurance that there wouldn't be that level of disruption being put on us for being out there 30 years. I never complained about the business because it wasn't disruptive. I'm very concerned about the videos. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Sally Herman.
Good afternoon. Thank you, commissioners, neighbors. I agree with Chad that I absolutely oppose a zone change. We are an A1 zone, and to put a commercial zone, be it 17 acres or 5 acres, right in the middle of an A1 is extremely disruptive. My name is Sally Herman. I live at 2593 Cashtown Road. I'm here representing myself and Michael Herman, my husband. We live on 9 acres, almost directly across from the property that we're discussing today, which is one of the reasons we moved. Where we moved is we have 9 acres and we operate a small family farm there. One of the reasons we moved there is because of the A1 and because of the comprehensive plan to keep it an A1. And as far as I understand, an A1 is established to encourage development of areas for common farm practices and single-family houses in this county. Cashtown Metals is asking to rezone those 5 acres across the street from my home to CGB, which is a general business commercial district, and development, as I understand it, in that zoning can include, if he chooses to sell it sometimes in the future, and he's a young man, gas stations, car washes, signs, storage facilities, shopping centers, and retail businesses. His business may not be disruptive now, but that's 5 acres. You can get a lot of businesses on 5 acres with that kind of leeway, with that zoning. I plan to live at that property for the rest of my life. And I don't want to live across from 5 acres like that in a county where I was told this was an A1. Anyway, I definitely agree that it should not be a permanent rezoning, that it should be a conditional use, if that, with stipulations. I don't want his business to fail. I don't want his business to sell. I don't want that stuff across the street from me. And across in my neighborhood, causing noise. Cashtown Metals operated illegally for 10 years, not zoned, not licensed. I'm sorry you bought a business that wasn't licensed or zoned, but it is a buyer beware market. I would never have bought a business that was illegally operating for 10 years. They've expressed plans to put up a big sign, which will be across from my home. They've expressed plans to build a big entrance and exit across from my home and add another 50 by 50 building back there for more enterprise for their business. That will just up everything. It'll up the traffic, it'll up the noise, it'll up the confusion. I looked over the 12 standards for governing the exercise of zoning power, and I won't go over them. I'm sure you know them, but I came up with 8 of those that should be no. If you go all the way down that list, no, no, no. How does it impact the neighboring properties? How does it do this? All right, so I have a reaction to the last meeting. And I can tell you that when I left, I could not believe the things that I heard the people on the board say. One of them was, well, this business has been operating for 10 years, and we may as well approve it. Just like Chad says, that's just ludicrous. That's ludicrous. You can't just say every business that's operating illegally in this county can be rezoned to fit an illegal business. The other thing that was brought up by one of the board members was there's already businesses all the way up and down Cashtown Road. Well, no, there really aren't. They named Carl Owens property at the corner of Little Vine Church Road and Cashtown Road. I mean, Little Vine Church and Cashtown, and as far as I can tell, he has a home office there, maybe. All he has done is improve the neighborhood by beautifying his land and building appropriate family homes. They have brought zero traffic into our neighborhood, zero. Enterkin Farm Supply was mentioned. That is a zone-appropriate small business, and that business actually sits on Morgan Road. The Music Depot was brought up. Again, zero traffic. A few cars a day, maybe. And the Flanagans, Jacob and Alex Flanagan's business was brought up, their trucking business. They're my next-door neighbors. I don't get any traffic from them. That's a home business. Dollar General was mentioned. The address is actually on Highway 120 at the end of Cashtown Road. There are not lots and lots of businesses up and down Cashtown Road presently. The impact to me and my family since the change of ownership has been the increased traffic all day in and out of that place across the road. We have large trucks parking in front of my house, big 18-wheel trucks and other people lined up waiting to go in for their business hours. They're closed at lunch. People line up to go in there at lunch. We've had multiple unsecured loads dropped into the road in front of my house, causing dangerous traffic conditions, people getting out, scattering around, traffic stopped. I highly ask you to vote no to the rezoning, a permanent rezoning of those 5 acres, and to approve on the basis that this business has been operating previously illegally just makes absolutely no sense to me at all as a homeowner. Please consider what you're doing and what your responsibility is to this county if you take our agriculturally zoned areas and turn them into commercial enterprises. And please consider the cost to all the other residents around there. And I thank you for your time, and I appreciate you letting me speak.
Dane Gaskins?
Good evening. My name's Dane Gaskins. I'm here as a representative and agent of Judy Thompson, my aunt. She is a neighboring landowner. And we wanted to express our disapproval of, we hope that the board does not grant this rezoning, much as what the others have spoken. From a philosophical point of view, I think that it makes us all look bad. Cashtown Metals operated outside of county rules, regulations, openly and notoriously for a decade. It's mentioned that none of the neighbors had complained, but I don't believe it's the responsibility of the residents to police the rules and regulations of the county. It would seem to me that it sends the message that you can do as you wish, as long as you keep your head down, don't make too many waves. And in the end, you can probably just sell and, well, the board's done it before, where they have retroactively rezoned a property just because, well, I mean, the last guy's got away with it. This has not been given the approval or the recommendation of the zoning board. So to then, after all that, still say, yeah, but, you know, you got us, we might as well approve. It seems hypocritical, and it sets a precedent of low standards and lacks control in the county. Thank you for your time.
Braden Robinson?
I'm tired of taking my vacation time in Buchanan. I'm kidding. I appreciate you guys' time today. I echo everything the adjoining property owners have said. Look, I'm extremely disappointed in our last planning committee meeting. That was a dog and pony show. No no respect to any of the adjoining property owners and what they had to say. I'm Braden, my parents are Chad and Casey Robinson, grandparents Max and Lane Smith. We're sixth generation there. We don't want to see something like this roll in. Zoning is scary. I have a background as a planner. When you change a zoning category, it opens up a Pandora's box. You're going to have everything under the sun that could come in there in the future. And it's complete disrespect that we don't even have any stipulations that are being brought up. Want to trust but verify? I mean, if we want to talk about business hours, future use, what have you, then let's back it up with stipulations. There's a way to meet middle ground here, and I'm not seeing that. That's disappointing. I do have a technical question. Are we not supposed to receive final notice of the public hearing by the Board of Commissioners via letter or on the signage? Because, I mean, we've only received stuff for the planning committee meeting.
I mean, the public hearing for this meeting should have been advertised.
It was advertised.
Okay.
We did not send out any, we've never sent out any kind of letters for the Board of Commissioners meeting. I've always been told that letters had to go out for the Planning and Zoning Board.
Yeah, and the letters would be just according to whatever our ordinance says.
Right.
The advertisement's required by state law.
Okay.
And
I was
that's
just-
all the state laws, you know, we advertise in the newspaper.
And that's what's
The planning
required.
and zoning sent the letters out.
Okay, well, that's just something I wanted to clarify because it's not on the public posting signage when the final decision would be. And I haven't received a letter in the mail as far as when final decision would be made by the Board of Commissioners. So that's just something, you know.
It's not required by state law.
Okay.
That's all I have. I appreciate your time. I really want you to consider what the adjoining property owners have said. There's a way to make this work for all parties. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? That's all we've got on the list.
Yes.
Is there anybody else? This is your opportunity. Hearing none, we're gonna move on to item number 2 is Planning and Zoning Board appointment. June, the end of June is Pam Henderson's term on the Planning and Zoning Board will expire. If you have somebody you'd like to recommend, bring them to the meeting May the 7th. Any questions?
Is that a 4-year term?
3, isn't it? 4? 4. 3 or 4.
Well, let's see.
3, isn't it?
I wrote it on the agenda.
think it's
I tore
3.
up.
I think it's 3.
I think theirs is 4. Planning and zoning will.
I think it would be 4,
The term will
yeah.
start 6/15 of '24 and end of 4/30 of '28 because a couple of years ago, we ended up real out of whack, and that keeps some alternate.
That's the reason we had the 3s before, because we were out of.
4-year term. All right.
Any more questions? Okay, item number 3, GDOT update, drugs and alcohol testing policy. Ms. Couch, you want that?
So our Haralson County Transit Department receives money from GDOT, which receives money from the USDOT. So back in June of '23, there was another policy that was approved. We were able to sign off on it as per their directions. To get that money, we have to follow all the criteria, meet it, specifically. So they've changed some wording in the policy. We've updated it just as they have asked. We're asking for y'all to sign off and approve that, have the chairman sign it on May the 7th. The main thing is any reference to urine drug testing throughout the policy is updated to reflect urine and or oral fluid drug testing. There's also a few word changes. They update things every few years, and so we have followed that. We have the old and the new policy for y'all to review if you'd like to. And that's what we're asking to keep within compliance with the Georgia Department of Transportation and US DOT.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, that'll be on the May 7th agenda. Item number 4, Region 1 EMS Board appointment. That's a 3-year term.
Yes.
It starts July the 1.
And goes
Been-
through June 30th of 2027.
27. And right now, Chief Hurley is one of the EMS board appointments, and we've had some conversation about Chief Brubaker taking this appointment. So it will be on the agenda May the 7th.
Who else is on that board?
The other one is,
Mitch Golden, isn't it?
yes, EMS for Ambicare,
Mitch,
Mitch Golden,
for EMS.
right,
And how many's on the board?
two from here. Haralson County appoints 2.
2.
I would give one from the ambulance service and one from the fire service.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Moving on, item number 5, automatic aid agreement for fire and emergency service with the city of Bremen. Chief Brubaker, you want to come up?
So we've actually already got the agreement with them. All this is just rechanging it. We've got some other automatic aid with Carroll Polk. So we're just trying to use our resources the best we can. There was a lot of areas where Bremen was coming out 11 miles when Polk County had a station 3 miles down the road. So that's really all this is just revamping it. We got with Holly and made sure everything was good, me, Jay, and Holly. So we feel like we got everything where it needs to be. But what's going to end up happening with the new ordinances passed with the neighborhoods and stuff like that could potentially come in, there's going to be new roads added in the county. So really what we're asking is that y'all approve it to where me and the other fire chief can handle these new roads coming into this area that we've already got approved, to where we don't have to waste the time to make sure we have the trucks in place to respond. Because it does take a little bit of time to get the meetings set up and everything. Most departments, it's usually handled just fire chief to fire chief once the initial agreement is put into play. But there's nothing that's going to change as far as what we provide to Bremen. We still send 2 fire trucks to every structure fire in Bremen, and they're still going to send one of their ladder trucks or one of their engines to us in those set areas. So we're really just trying to set everything up for our ISO audit that should be coming up. And this should help us tremendously with it. So there's things set up for engine coming 5 miles into the county, and then an aerial coming 2.5 miles. Anything outside of that's really not beneficial to us or them.
In the automatic aid with Bremen, under the existing agreement, did Bremen go as far north as 120?
So they were going all the way out to Draketown.
And 8, okay.
Yeah,
So is under the new agreement, is that zone smaller or larger?
So that zone, they actually come back down to Morgan Road, Cashtown area, instead of going all the way out to 120, because we've got Polk County, Paulden and Carroll can all beat Bremen to that side of town.
So
It reduces the wear and tear on Bremen. So they were traveling 10.5 to 11 miles to that area when we've got other departments that are willing to respond that are roughly 3 miles away from that area.
So I guess Bremen back down to Cashtown, Morgan.
Yeah, so they're going to be right on their 5 mile mark.
And that'll go all the way east to the Carroll County line out Morgan to,
Yeah, so they're going to run over to 113, and then anything actually on 113 is going to be handled by Carroll County, because they're a lot closer. So.
okay.
And we've got the map already done up and everything. And like I said, we got with Holly, made sure 911, we did it the way that's gonna make it easiest for them. So that's really where we're at with it. And the only other thing is just making sure that as these new roads go into that footprint that we already have set, if we get a neighborhood coming in, that me, Holly, and Jay can get together and say, hey, these are the trucks that we're gonna have respond to these areas. That's pretty much all we're trying to do.
We've already got a map and a list of the roads. We can send it to all the commissioners before the vote.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And it's already,
Are y'all with agreements right now? I mean, you presenting this to us, and it sounds like you and the chiefs have had conversed. Is
So
it?
we are already doing this, so it's already done. All we're doing is really asking for us to be able to add the new roads as they come up. So this is an agreement that was already done prior to me coming.
Right, I remember.
Yeah, so all we're really asking for is the verbiage to change to where me and Chief Hurley can get together on new roads coming into the county.
Okay.
Is really all it boils down to.
Thank you.
item number 6, zoning ordinance for camper and living in campers. That's, we'll have to advertise this and have to go before the zoning board and all before we vote.
That's correct. Yes, and it's just ordinance to clarify what we already have that, but to make it more clear and easier for codes enforcement officers to enforce, that you can't live in temporary habitats like RVs or campers or tents for your permanent living arrangements.
Any questions?
How is that monitored? That's tough, isn't it, Drew?
It's going to be a long.
Come on up to the microphone. We've had some complaints about our live streaming that we couldn't hear off that microphone.
Yeah, so this is actually an ordinance I've been kind of pushing for. But in this sense, we're going to be very, very reactive. As y'all can probably tell by driving anywhere, there's campers left and right. So it's just something that makes it a little more concrete, a little more enforceable. But it will be it's not going to happen overnight. But some of us is going to be out from making contact, and some of it will be from complaints, just kind of like it's coming in already. It's just going to give us a little more tools to nip it in the bud. And it'll also help, hopefully, new ones coming in. I mean, we're going to have a long battle to get the old ones we got in here already, but hopefully it's going to help cut down on the new ones coming in to at least stop it from multiplying.
Well, you see it a lot on individual properties throughout the county, but we also have camping grounds in the county where that's supposed to be in and out. And as I've said, you can ride in some of them and it looks like they're not going to move their flower planters out front. They're there. You know,
Right.
They've been there a while.
Right, yeah, you drive around some and they don't put a new roof over it, right?
Right. So how will those be handled?
That's kind of an attorney question.
Yeah, those are even more difficult. I think what we're really looking at is somebody setting out a like shed or something in an agricultural lot. But what you've talked about is, I think it's already in the ordinance, and certainly this would apply, but it's difficult to monitor, as you said.
My name is Drew Fowler, and I am the marshal of the county. Sorry about that. It's got to talking.
Thanks, Drew.
Item number 7, short-term stay licensing, Airbnbs, Bureau of campgrounds, RV parks. I think you'll have the licensing process.
Yep. So this is not a zoning ordinance, so it does not have to be advertised or anything and can be approved by the board at the next meeting. But what it is a licensing ordinance for short-term rentals, particularly Airbnbs, VRBOs, that type of establishment. When people rent out their dwellings for those types of things, you may get short-term parties, essentially, that impact the neighborhoods or surrounding areas. And this ordinance would give the county some enforcement powers. In fact, they would have to get permitted with the county and get this license, and then the county will be able to monitor that license, and if there are complaints from the neighbors about people out shooting guns or 20 cars showing up on the weekend for a party every weekend, then it gives the county enforcement powers to take action.
This gives us an opportunity to know where these places are located. If you don't know where the Airbnbs are at.
Well, if it's taking place on your own property, there are nothing to, as long as you meet the noise standards, there is no consequences on that, is there?
This does not apply to any owner-occupied establishments, only people leasing or renting their person for somebody for short-term stays.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? Item number 8, executive session. We can't vote in a work session. Do we just go into executive session? Do we?
We should still vote to close the meeting and go into executive session. We can vote for that limited purpose. It's not voting on anything in particular, and nothing will be voted on in executive session or after executive session.
I move we adjourn for this meeting and move into an executive session for purposes of the personnel.
Yes.
I'll second.
Favor? Right hand. We're adjourned.